Hello, doctor.
Hello, Mr. Wali Olaito. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, good day, good morning, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to the show, the Nigeria we want. It's been one technical issue after the other, but we're alive right now. So, thank you for joining us. How have you been?
Yeah, busy. So busy week. Yeah. So yes, thank God it's Friday. So I had a busy week, and actually, I just got home not too. I think I've lost Dr. Vicky Omifolaji for now. It appears I'm the only one on the show for now. So if you just joining us, you are on our number one show, the Nigeria we want. Okay, Dr. Vicky is back. I will hand over back to Dr. Vicky. We've got Egbon under the mango tree.
Egbon? Technical problem.
Yeah, there's a strong kind of echo.
Mm. All right. So, give me a second. I'll sort this out.
No problems. Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, but the echo is still there.
How about now?
It's better.
Okay. All right. Let's get the show rolling. How's your week been?
Yeah, busy week and I had to stay, for a few hours in the city after work. You can't believe it. 1st of December, looking at how busy December is. So,
Hmm.
my team at work, we we had our kind of Christmas get together tonight. It's
So it's
very
quite.
strange.
Hmm.
But some people are getting away, and so yeah, so we had we had our Christmas get together. It's kind of weird, but after work we just stay, for a few hours in the city. So yes, I was just looking at the time and just got back home just maybe about half an hour ago.
Hmm.
Yes, my week was good, productive as usual with work. It ended well with get together with work colleagues, just relaxing after a busy week. Again, just have to thank you for hosting us on Saturday for your
Oh yes.
Thanksgiving.
Oh, that
You know,
feels like a far away time.
yeah, it looks like forever, but
Mm,
just that was just 6 days ago that we were at your lovely, family home for the Thanksgiving get together.
mm.
That was superb on all levels with food to eat and drink and the social contacts and everything. So thank you very much to you and Dr. Stephen Omifolaji and your beautiful children for looking after us.
Thank you for making it there. We know you're quite far away, but you still make it there. So we actually appreciate all our friends for turning up, and yeah, we all have cause to rejoice. Mm.
Absolutely.
All right. So Egmont should be joining us. Sure. Okay. Yes, it's in the back. Add to the stage. Okay. All right. So tonight, Egmont, you're welcome, sir.
So my apologies. My has been misbehaving lately. That's an open confession. So I just had to switch off and switch on again and all that. Sorry
Oh,
about that.
no, no, no. You
So
eventually
it's
make it
a
up.
little more than my 2G, a little more than my 2G moment.
you,
Yeah,
wel-
I
you,
had my
you,
moment.
you're welcome to the show,
It was
Egbon.
my turn.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
So what is trending for you, Mr. Wale Olaito?
Yeah, what is trending for me? I will go straight to the point, and Egbon, please feel free to support me or add a few other information to this. On Wednesday, there is a very sad development in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. Uh, the death of Mr. Taiwo Oyekomi, who was, as at the time, the director of finance and accounts attached to the office of Ogun State Governor Dakpo Abiodun. So on Wednesday, the media report that I followed so far reported that Mr. Yekomi um, went to a bank in a bullion van, obviously to withdraw substantial amount of money. The actual amount was not disclosed in the news report that I read. He went there in the company of a driver. Based on what I read, there was a security detail or a policeman that was actually in previous kind of banks outings that was meant to be with him. On that particular day, there wasn't any armed police or any armed security person, with him. He was there, and the driver, probably someone else, and then he made this withdrawal, and just on their way back to the office. Um, Based on what I read, around that NMPC, bridge in around Akuto, in Abeokuta, they were ambushed by suspected armed robbers, about 5 of them, based on what I read. And then they shot and killed Mr. Taiwo Yekomi, who was then director of finance and accounts. And then obviously they were able to, based on what I read, they used sledgehammer to dislodge, what the sales, and where they went away with, a large amount of money. So there are a couple of questions there for me that I've thought about this thing. Number one question is around, why would a director of finance have to go in a bullion van, to a bank to withdraw substantial amount of money without any attached security person, a police officer? To me, that's there's a strong red flag there. Number two, based on what I read again, and I stand to be corrected, the policeman who was meant to be with him on that day, had other excuses, and he wasn't there. And the way the whole thing was reported was, armed robbery and everything. So, based on what I know about crime and everything, so there are things that doesn't really add up, to me, and not casting aspersions on anyone, but a few things that doesn't really add up. Number one is, not blaming anyone, not blaming the dead in particular, but to think that substantial amount of money was being, they went to the bank to withdraw substantial amount of money in a bullion van, and there was no security detail. That is a very, very, I don't know why would anyone do that, especially at that state level. Number two, they need to actually, the policeman that was meant to be there, that wasn't there, that had to come up with another excuse to be absent from that duty. I think there's something they need to look into. That could be an alibi. I'm not exactly sure, but to me, it's looking like a script in a movie, like a crime movie. That is how the whole thing is looking to me. And to even think that the whole thing was reported as armed robbery, was it really armed robbery? They went straight for this guy. He was the only one that was killed, based on what I read. The driver in that bullion van was the one that drove him to the hospital, where he later died. based on what I read again, no other person, the driver wasn't attacked. He was the one that was really attacked and killed. Was it an armed robbery based on his position? Did he know too much? I'm just putting all these questions out there. I don't really have the answer. Director of Finance getting money, on his own, no security details. It looks like an inside job. It looks like a perfect, inside job. And I stand to be corrected that um, the way things are, and I don't want to preempt what the police what they want to do, but to me it looks more like an inside job to me from the script and everything. It looks like an inside job. May so rest in peace, Mr. Taiwo Oyekomi left, a wife and children. May so rest in peace. I will stop there. I'm sure we're still going to learn more about this. But Egbon, if you know more about this or you have any other information, please before feel free to add a few words to it.
Well, I will not say I have any other information. The questions you have raised, I can tell you the answers are up there in the wind. We hope we'll get answers to them. I have been bothered about those issues, those questions too. It's a very sad development. Taiwo Oyekomi was a perfect gentleman. He was a perfect gentleman. And but he's gone now, leaving those dependents, the wife, the children. I'm not quite sure whether he still has parents or not. But the whole thing leaves a very sour taste in the mouth. Very, very sour. It's a very sad development, just as I said, because in some other climes, it probably wouldn't have happened. How I wished Taiwo Yekomi insisted on not going to that bank without adequate security cover. The question you want to ask is, has this been a practice over a period? Have they been doing this? Because if they've not been doing it, I don't know why I would have agreed to do that. In a society where security is a major issue. You want to ask, of course, those questions that you have asked are very, very relevant. I'm hoping and praying that the investigators will get to the root of it all, including why we needed to withdraw that amount of money in cash. And outside that, why was it that it was Taiwo Yekomi alone that was shot? It grieves one's heart that that place where the incident happened is about, it's less than 5 minutes drive from the Ibarra police station. Less than 5 minutes drive. Were there calls to the place? And if there were, what was the response? And if they even attempted responding, what facilities were available to them to adequately respond to such? Do they have the vehicles to do it? Do they have the ammunition to take along? In other climes, when that happened, apart from the quick response of the police on ground, there would have been police helicopters up there, which would have made it literally impossible for the hoodlums, robbers maybe, assassins maybe, to have escaped. The totality of the geographical coverage of Abeokuta isn't that much. It would have been easy to track them, but we don't have that luxury. In spite of the fact that we can afford it, if we had priorities put in place, if we have our priorities right. But that is not what we are discussing right now. What we're discussing is that a young life was wasted at 51 or so. The wife is about 40. And at whatever age, you don't want to sacrifice your citizens. It's a shame. It's a big, big, big shame. It's very, very sad. How I wish they just took the money and left him alone.
Mm.
But you want to also ask, was somebody trying to cover something up? Was somebody trying to hush him up? If he knew anything?
Yeah, it's a very relevant question, Debo.
Uh
It's a very
yeah.
relevant question to ask.
I mean, it is we can talk about this thing for the next 1 hour or more. But it's a shame of, sorry to say, a nation that this could happen, and these guys could just get away easily with such a thing. Right in the middle of the city. We can do a lot better. We can do a lot better. We can do a lot better. I I honestly do not know whether to pray for Oyekomi's soul to rest in peace, but may it haunt his killers until they are revealed and apprehended.
Thank you,
That's
Egbon.
my bit there.
Yeah, thank you, Egbon, for that. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Yes.
This particular, I'm not really familiar much with Abeokuta, but my last trip to Nigeria, I was in Abeokuta, and that Kuta area. I actually stayed in the hotel. Can't remember the name
Let
of
me,
that.
let me, Doc, let me quickly help you out. The
Yes,
very first bridge you will climb on
yes,
entering Abeokuta, that was
yes,
where it happened. That was where
exactly.
it happened by
I,
NNPC.
yeah, I stayed in the hotel. That hotel there. That can't remember the name of that hotel. That was where I saw. I always pass that place. Like few times a day, going in and out. So for me, that just too close to home. And Abeokuta not a big place, and with the road that is not so good. If we have good policing and all that kind of stuff, these people um wouldn't have gone far for them. Unfortunately, um, if it the way they're even getting closer to those in power now is quite funny. So we just pray for the family of the man, for them to be covered, by the grace, and comforted. That's all we can say. um that's Nigeria for you. So let's just move on to today's topic. We are talking about something that I believe most Nigerians that are Japaing will need to listen to, so that they can watch out and be careful in what they do. So, Mr. Wale Olaiton, I'll just get you to do what you do best. You being the intercontinental moderator.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Vicky, and thank you, Egbon, for adding your words to that. What is trending for me? So, course of our producer, Mr. Alabi, I will provide background information. We are discussing migration in Nigeria with the specific topic: a Nigerian nurse in the UK sacked, deported over prayer for dying patient. Many Nigerians want to emigrate to other countries, that is Japa in popular parlance, but most of them are oblivious of the changing environment and the need to adapt. Stories abound how many migrating Nigerians got into trouble in foreign countries, such as the cult attacks in South Africa and the display of hooliganism by people in Dubai, which eventually led to a visa ban. Recently, a Nigerian master's student in the United Kingdom, Somotoshuku Okowa, got into trouble over threats to his teachers. He was remanded in custody after a jury found him guilty of making terrorist threats against Dundee University in Scotland. Okowa, who is 26 years old, claimed he had enlisted the support of ISIS, an international terrorist organization, to help bomb the university. He now faces jail time and deportation. Now, another Nigerian immigrant has gotten into trouble in the United Kingdom. The yet to be identified healthcare worker was fired and deported after she was reportedly seen praying for an elderly dying patient in the hospital. In a post shared via his ex handle at Dr. Olufumilayo, a self-acclaimed online doctor, Ave Olufumilayo, stated that it is unethical in the UK for nurses to bring religion into their duties. He said, although it is not customary for nurses to pray for patients, it is expected of them to ask a cleric to perform any religious service on them, even if the patient requests that they do so. The doctor added that praying for patients is seen as an abuse of trust and misuse of position, as health workers are expected to simply do and focus on their job. So I'll go straight now to Mr. Yemi Chodima. I'll start from Egbon and then I'll come back to Dr. Vicky. What was that prompted the nurse to carry out such an unethical act, Mr. Chodima, praying for a dying patient? Unmute, please.
I let me say this. It's almost laughable, but it's probably a little more serious than that. Because while you were reading that, what was ringing in my head was a song years back, and it's a bí wọ́n ti mí ṣe nílẹ̀ yìí o, ara mi wé mọ́, kò bá béèrè kó tó jáde nílé. Because I'll tell you, listen, there's a place for everything. There's a place for everything. That you are a prayer warrior here does not translate to the fact that you will assume that same position when you're outside the shores of this country. What is required of you? What are the terms of engagement? What does the society permit? You need to learn. These are basic things you need to learn when you are changing your environment. And I can tell you that these are not hidden things. Even if you don't find them in black and white, ask questions. The nurse in question is so sad because only God knows what she went through to get to that position there. Now you've gone, you've taken your religious belief and all, you want to throw it into a system that has its do's and don'ts. You will do it here and you will get away with it because the society does not particularly frown at it. The system does not particularly frown at it. But once you step onto that soil, you should know that there are some things you cannot do. Now, look at the situation. It's a good lesson for others, because there are some people who believe that they are first cousins of the Almighty. There is no problem about you having that relationship. It is all well and good. But when you are getting engaged to provide services within a system, you should know that that relationship that you have, make it personal. Don't extend it to others. I mean, I'm not going to blame the government. I'm not going to blame the system. That is what they have established. And very well, they've done it. Of course, they brought the old concept to us, and we took it hook, line, and sinker. They have moved on to some other things that will, I mean, they are facing reality. They have engaged some other means of progressing within their society. Yes, people still pray there, but do they do it at work? Do they take it to work? Kokpele, there are hospitals here that she can come back to, and the religious bodies will probably are waiting so that they can start the whole process of prayer again, and maybe one way or the other, she'll find herself back in the system there. One way or the other, I don't know. It's sad,
Thank,
but I'm sorry, I'm not too eager to shed tears for this.
thank you,
Thanks.
Mr. Asholemo. Dr. Vicky, on that same, question, what must have prompted, such an unethical, act, from the nurse?
Egbon had said it all, and I'm still gonna echo the same thing, that it's just because they're so used to doing it where they are from, which is Nigeria. That is the system of the day over there, and unfortunately, they have forgotten that how they were doing it wherever they come from, things are not working well there. That's the reason why they pack up and move to a place where the system works. You cannot turn where where things are going the way it's supposed to go smoothly because they have system in place. You can't turn it to where you're coming from. They just don't compute. Most of these hospitals will have done um you know training, like when you first start working, that usually it's not training, it's more like to
I-
explain the
Induction,
induction. Thank you. You must have
orientation.
orientation for them, and every organization tend to emphasize that your religion is your religion. You don't talk to them about whatever you do. Okay, here we're here to work. Go to church to do other things. This is not a place for it. uh, Praying for a man that may not even be a Christian, that man could sue her. That man could sue the
Mm,
hospital. What kind of thing is this?
mm,
Because I'm not
mm,
here to be prayed for. I'm here for
mhm,
doctors to work on me. So what is this nonsense? It's you that knows what how, about prayer. It's you that knows about Christ. That person may not even believe in anything. And now it's like you're just enforcing yourself on him. And that is frowned at in this climate. That is something that is not acceptable. Because if it works for you wherever you're coming from, you wouldn't even leave that place.
Thank you, Dr. Vicky.
And
Are you?
sorry, I just need to say this. And that brings to mind there are other things that have been happening. Whether those who are working as care workers or whatever else, there are lots of different things. Most people are getting into some, not most, some people are getting, those that are jackpying, they are getting into trouble where they are going to, because They go in there, they are not, some of them, they really don't have the necessary paperwork to do that particular job as support worker, as aged care worker, as even nurses. It may be nurses wherever they're coming from, and then they get there. It takes time for them to get into the system. Now, they try and do whatever just to start earning quickly.
Money.
There are things that they need to know, which is the reason when I got to Nigeria this time around, I've put together certain courses to, kind of get them to have that preliminary idea about what to expect whenever they go to the UK, to Canada, or to Australia to work. What are the things you need to know? I'll give you an example of somebody that it's an unfortunate incident happened to. This guy was a highly placed banker in Nigeria, and then he moved to the UK. When he got there, he got work in a week as care worker. And as a care worker, he started working in a dementia unit. Um, and then he took this woman for bath. He forgot to take towels with him. Now, as the bath finished, he quickly got into the room to grab the towels. So by the time he got back, the woman had already crawled out of the bathtub. She fell and broke her hip. But of course, you wouldn't know until later on. This man didn't know. But if we fall as Africans, we don't turn blue, no colors we show. But for them, for Caucasian, after a couple of hours, there are bruises all over. And because this guy didn't know what to, he didn't know what he should have done. Any client could have had a fall, but there are processes. You report, you write incident report, you tell your manager, there are processes. You've got to follow. All right. So he didn't say anything. He just wiped the woman, dressed for her, fed her. It was later on that the woman started complaining. Of course, by the time they checked, there were bruises all over her body. Eventually, that woman died. This guy was charged for manslaughter. He's in jail as we speak. He sold everything that he had to be able to sponsor this. So many people are getting into trouble because they're so eager for the money. They are not getting themselves into understanding the system they are working in. It may be for short term, just to get settled, and then I'll follow and pursue my original career. But when you are there, make sure you do it so that you don't cause wahala for yourself. So I just wanted to chip that in.
Thank you, Dr. Vicky. Thank you for that. It's a very, very relevant but unfortunate example. So moving on, I'm going to, Egbo, you made reference earlier to, looking at what could be, the root causes of this. You made reference to, people not having enough understanding of the system. So could it be blamed on lack of awareness of the law? In this instance of the nails that we just mentioned, or that we are talking about, or overzealousness on the part of the nurse, that will make people, as doctor said, wherever you work, even if the basic of the work that you want to do in any Western society, they have induction, orientations, and everything. So is it a lack of awareness? I want to think that it's not really lack of awareness, or is it just being overzealous? Like in our own way, we think that there's a way we have to do things as Africans or as Nigerians, that even when it comes to religion, there's a way we there's a lens through we look at religious practice in the West. Even the churches, we see them as if they are not even up to our standard. That's why in most cases where you have Africans, you hardly see Africans going to, like the established churches there, like going to Anglican church or Catholic church, wherever. In most cases, you will see us, having our own churches because we think that for whatever reason, we've got something better than them. So in the case of this nurse, is it that lack of awareness, in your opinion, or is just, being overzealous?
Miracle. That's one keyword. Miracle. We believe in miracle. And we believe that once we make supplications to the man upstairs and we pray fervently, it will be done. Nothing wrong about it. I pray too. But just as I said earlier, it is a personal thing between me and Baba God. Let's take it from the angle of of awareness. I mean, it is not space technology to learn the ABC of this particular aspect. Is one of the basic things you should know about that society. Unfortunately, and I will say this, our religious leaders are not helping. They are not. At least some. I would rather say, in fact, most. Because you grill people, you drive it into their subconsciousness that everything can be done with that. Everything under the sun. And if anybody leaves this climb with that in mind, without reorientating himself or herself as to what that society demands, you will run into trouble. You will certainly run into trouble. And that, I think, is what has happened in this case. If you now couple that with overzealousness, if you couple that with being overzealousness, there is a danger in it. Because, listen, here is a dying man, according to whatever the report is, and what he needed was medical attention. Okay, fine. Even when medicine has failed, you heard what the doctor said. It is not in your role to say, let us pray. You heard what Doc said earlier. What if that man does not believe in Christ? He has a right to his belief. Even if she was not sacked, if she was sued, what would have happened if she could not afford the fine at the end of the day? She probably would even have been fined and then sacked. Now, this situation, there is a need for us to listen. It is the same thing we do here. It is the same thing. It's just that there are no obvious repercussions for it. There are no obvious repercussions for it. Nurses here will pray for patients, whether they are of the same faith or not. They pray for patients. Some nurses here will say, bring water, let me pray into it, and then drink. Replacing medicine without water. At times, this is one of the reasons why I keep asking the question. And that's what you've exported there. That society frowns at it. So if you are conscious of the fact that you are not in Nigeria, if you are conscious of the fact that there are do's and don'ts here, you won't go into that. You won't leave medicine and go into evangelization or whatever you want to call it. There's nothing wrong. Have your relationship with your God. But Allow other people to make their decision on what to do. Allow the system. Listen. If they looked away at this particular incident, it is how they will that's how they will erode the
The
system
system
there
that works.
and crumble the whole thing.
Mm.
That is how they will start organizing fellowship with patients in that place, and the system will have no place. Now you have to start rebuilding. It's a big lesson for others. It is.
Oh, thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Shodimo. I remember a couple of months ago, thank you, a couple of months ago, maybe more, we spoke on this program, about the demands of the government asking some well-qualified Nigerian medical practitioner, especially in UK, to sit for certain exams. That people that were, practicing and they've been practicing for a long time, they're asking them to write exam. I think we're looking at both argument for and against that decision, that day. Considering what just happened now, what impact acts like this, having on the image of the country generally, and also on the opportunities for other
Other
qualified,
people. Mm.
healthcare workers in Nigeria who wants to, try their luck and go to UK or somewhere else to practice. What is the impact of this kind of acts of unethical behavior, on the, one, on the image of the country, and also on the image of the professionals, qualified professionals from Nigeria? Dr. Vicky.
It tends to have this negative um it makes them, because we human beings, we tend to generalize. We're so, yes, somebody did that, yes, it's the people of that country, that's what they all do. So it tends to impact on other people that are coming behind. I have this thing in my mind, and I think I've kind of push it to my children, that wherever you are, you're an ambassador for Black race. Wherever you are, you're an ambassador for Nigerians. Wherever you are, you are an ambassador for Umifolaji family. So be careful what you say, how you say things, how you treat people. Be very careful. So it's something that I tend to watch out for, because whatever I do tend to impact on people coming behind me, people who are planning to do the same thing. So I do things well. I leave good path, that yes, Vicky was here and we're coming in. We've got to do it well also, because Vicky didn't mess things up for us. That's why we're able to get this job. Vicky didn't mess these things up. That's why we are being looked at favorably. That is the way I look at things. Um, but unfortunately, Nigerians, some Nigerians, they kind of believe that they are above the law. They are above whatever you've laid down. Whatever they want to do, they want to do it. And that is what is getting us into trouble with even some other African countries. I belong to a group, because when I was going to Dubai, I really needed to know what we're gonna be doing and stuff like that. So there's a group called Blacks in Dubai, and this group was founded by Americans, group of Americans who run businesses about bringing people to Dubai for holidays and stuff like that. So it's majorly Americans. Now there are lots of Nigerians and other Africans coming into that group. The group is over 50,000 people. And when I first joined and I share our holiday plan and stuff like that, and then when we've been to the holiday and I shared more pictures and stuff, there are Nigerians making comments. There are Nigerians coming into my inbox saying all sorts of stuff. Now, 2 days ago, there was this African American woman that made a comment that all these Nigerians coming to beg for money. All these Nigerians coming to beg for money. They make comments, they're asking for money. They go into people's inboxes. Okay, this is an American. Maybe I can, my children they haven't eaten all day. I'm so hungry. And these people, not one, not two, it's quite shameful. So they're like, you have money to buy data to come online, on Facebook, on social media, and you are begging. This is so shameful that they should, it's me being a Nigerian. I was just like, oh my gosh, why are we always like this? This is not the first group that I've been part of that some of our people tend to show their true color. And it's really bad. And that is what goes across every area. So this person was praying. It's like, whatever your belief is, I know my God can do this. I know my God. I'm a Christian, I'm a pastor. But even if I want to pray for my client, I do it without them even knowing. I just leave them into God's hands. I don't need to do it so that they can see me, so that people can see me, because that is not a place for it. So this tend to affect other people. Now, with that kind of, when things like this do happen, what they tend to do is to start to put certain things into place. Now, before they can get Nigerians to work, this is what I know they would eventually do. If you are Nigerian, they will make you to go and do 4, 5 weeks, 6 weeks course because somebody did something wrong. And you are going to be paying FT. You're going to be paying a lot of money to do that course, get a certificate, and then you start working. They will make you sign. They will make you sign that you are not going to be doing things like this. When people create problems for other people without thinking, if you are such a great Christian, there are hospitals in Nigeria where you can go to pray for people that can't even afford to pay. Go there and pray. Why go to the UK to do that? So my panelists, that's just my own take on this.
Wale, if I can, Wale, permit me to just quickly chip in. And thank you, Doc.
Please do.
Thank you for those beautiful things. Listen, because of what she said, I had an experience recently. I did a post. I did a post on Facebook, and of course there were quite a lot of reactions to it. But I just realized that there was a particular person that was speaking on almost every person that commented, and was making this appeal of not having eaten for the past 1 year, how our children are blah 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 blah, and all those things that they say. And the person was speaking on almost all those who passed comments on my posts, and was like going to their, messaging them, making that, and I felt so irritated. I said, if you wanted to do it, why not just do your own post and make that appeal? I took my time to delete every bit of what she wrote to every one of them, even before they reacted. And that's how people mess things up for others.
Just
as you rightly said, now they'll be scrutinizing Nigerians more. They have been doing it, but they'll be scrutinizing us. And you don't, because of your own personal misdemeanor, you now spread that level of inconvenience to others. It is not right. It is shameful. Now, that is one. I don't want us to forget the issue of the other guy that made the threats, which was part of your intro, Wale. The other guy that made the threat about ISIS and all that. I don't want him to go scot-free. Listen, that's another very sad thing. If you find out very well, it's probably one of those that carry ego all over the place. and these ones that are quick to temper, and you can't correct them. Isheile, it is called Isheile Logbede Libe, right? And it also brings to mind a song. Ẹnu mi ò ní pa mí o, ẹnu mi ò ní pa mí. Mo rawọ́ ẹ̀bẹ̀ sí ìwọ ẹlẹ́dàá mi, ẹnu mi ò ní pa mí o. Yes, watch what you say, even out of anger. Because that guy has probably only read about ISIS on the internet. Has probably just heard about them. I'm not saying that is 100% that is not involved. But when you now go into a society that frowns at you threatening people, that's what you find. These are the type of people who will meet you in the traffic without knowing you and start threatening you for no reason. Now you are taking it there, and that's the repercussion. What I'm saying in summary is, before you act, especially in a foreign land, think about the repercussions of your action, of your decision, of your utterances on other people that are from your nation in particular. How will this affect them? How will this affect your person? How will it affect your future? How will it affect other people who are aspiring to come into that same society? These are lessons, and I hope people will take it.
Thank you very much, Igbon. And you made reference to people thinking ahead about the repercussions of their behaviors on other people, the current generation and generations coming behind. And obviously, Nigerians associations abroad, to their credit, they try to create awareness about all this, and Nigerian missions abroad, they also do the same thing in terms of, creating awareness. I remember our Nigerian Society, Nigerian Society of Victoria, they had a program, I think last weekend it was specifically organized for the new arrivals, the new Nigerians that just arrived here. It brought, obviously people, existing members that have been here much longer. They invited police and other law enforcement people just to come and talk to to new migrants about the laws, the social civil things to do, and obviously people will share their experiences around how to behave and how to behave. I think many years ago there was a case of a Nigerian doctor that came here and he was bossing nurses around in the hospital like they used to do in Nigeria, and within a few months he got into trouble. So I think people are doing their best in terms of orientation in community associations. I also think the Nigerian nations, they do the same, but this thing has to do with the core of people's ideas and the core of how people get by in life. And for some people, that's how they get by in life. Doing this for 20, 10 years is difficult in most cases to adjust to the new environment. Moving on now, the time is not really on our side. I just go around to the same thing we've spoken about over and over again on this program. Like the situation of things in Nigeria prompts Nigerians to emigrate. The situation in Nigeria, situations that prompting people to Japa. I've seen a recent videos where people are just sleeping in car parks and all other places. Again, this sounds rhetorical. We'll be asking the same thing over, but we still have to. We can't talk about this without talking about the root causes of people living in Nigeria. What do you think the government needs to do to change things, especially with the new government? I don't think we've had a discussion under this new government. So I'll start with Egbon. just in 60 seconds, and then I will hand over to Dr. Vicky to close the show and to tell us our own view as well. Mr. Shodibu.
Wale, I'll make this very brief. We don't have enough time to start talking to government on what they should do. They know what to do. Let's just get the environment right. Let's make it an enabling environment for people to stay here. But it's a whole episode on its own. So but in summary about the topic we are discussing today, religion is personal. Let's start by getting it right here. Religion is personal. All this idea of making noise and disturbing communities with your worship and all that should really stop. Seriously, it should stop. People, there are people who are living in such pains here because they found themselves within environments where churches and mosques make life difficult for them. We need to tell ourselves that religion is personal. Keep it to yourself, for God's sake. Keep it to yourself. And live and let live. That is what it is. It's the same reason why people will go out there and they will say they want to do night vigil or they want to pray at night, and in their houses they are screaming so much that they are disturbing neighbors until they call the police to come and meet them. And by the time things get out of hand, people find themselves in a mess. Let us get it right here. If you get it right from here, it will be easy for you to adapt there. But when you are nonchalant, when you don't care about the feelings of others here, you will take it there and get into trouble. I hope we learn our lessons. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shodima. Dr. Vicky, your final words on what we can do or what government should do to change things around, for the people, and also, for you to close, tonight's show. Over to you, Dr. Vicky.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wale Lighton, for a great moderation, and Mr. Shodimu. I know you're both busy, but you still make it tonight. Thank you for being here, and for our viewers, we appreciate you. Now, what can government do? See, government didn't follow this woman to where she went to the UK, where she started doing what she was doing. You put your religion over your head. I mean, you don't have to do that. The thing is, we know what we should do. If you're a Christian, God is love. If you love your neighbor, if you love people next to you, if you love others, then you won't cause them pain. You cause them pain when they've worked all day, they're supposed to be sleeping, and then you are banging your head on the wall and shouting, fire, fire, fire. You are praying, not caring about other people. You turn your loudspeaker to where others are sleeping from this side. Then the Muslim also turn their loudspeaker to, come on, why are we doing this? And then we move ourselves away from that environment that is not that is too rowdy, that is not that doesn't have structure, that doesn't have system in place, to now go to a place where maybe what is making us leave to go to these places? Now we are carrying those things along with us, doing the same thing where they have their system, because that system is working. That's why you could go there and say, okay, please give me job. You could beg, give me job, or give me job. That woman now should be crying in Nigeria. So we need to know where one this is what they do. This is who they are. Don't even go there. And whatever happened to others, we learn from it. It's only stupid people that doesn't learn, that doesn't, tap into it. What this person did do. Okay. Even if I'm going to be praying, if I like my clients and I really know that God can do it, in my toilet I can pray. My God answers wherever I am. So we need to start doing things differently. Yes, the government, we've been talking about it again and again. What can they do? They, like Egbo said, they know what to do. Give us enabling environment. There's no reason for us to be running helter-skelter, looking for a better place to live if Nigeria is good enough. If they can attack somebody in the government and kill him, Abi, so they need to give us enabling environment. That's just it. Make the place safe, give us good roads, give us power. And yes, let's see, things will work. So we'll bring today's show to the end. I appreciate you, Egmont and Mr. Olaiton, and all our viewers watching right now on Facebook, live on Facebook, and that may be watching this later on. We appreciate you. We'll be back again next Friday, same time, same place. You all take care. God bless. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.